Turkey.Thapsacus was an ancient town along the western bank of the Euphrates River that would now lie in modern Syria, Turkey. Thapsacus was the Greek and Roman name for the town. The town was important and prosperous due to its river crossing, which allowed east-west land traffic to pass through it. Its precise location is unknown, and there are several different locations identified as the site of Thapsacus. One possibility is a location close to Karchemish, which now lies in Turkey, on its border with Syria. Karkamis and Gerabilis are the closest modern towns in Turkey and Syria respectively. More recently it has been suggested that Thapsacus was renamed to Seleucia at the Zergma, which lies further upstream on the Euphrates. Location: Farrell and Engels argue that Thapsacus was located in the vicinity of Karchemish. There are several classical sources which support this. The oldest source is the 401 BC marching itinerary of Cyrus the Younger as given by Xenophon in his Anabasis. Farrell calculates that the march rates support a crossing at Karchemish, then across to the Balik River and then down the river to its junction with the Euphrates. The Greek geographer Eratosthenes, who lived during the 3rd and 2nd century BC, gave a distance of 4,800 stades from Thapsacus to Babylon through the route along the Euphrates. This distance is 552 miles, which conforms to the actual distance of about 558 miles between Karchemish and Babylon. Eratosthenes also gives a distance of 2,400 stades for the shortest route to the Tigris from Thapsacus. This distance is 276 miles, which is also the approximate distance as measured with modern techniques. Arrian writes that Alexander the Great kept the Euphrates and the Armenian mountains on his left after he crossed the Euphrates at Thapsacus in 331 BC. Engels interprets this as additional support for a location near Karchemish. The city's identification with Karchemish is supported by its similar role. In Neo-Assyrian times, the city of Karchemish was the main crossing point on the Euphrates. For many centuries it had been the capital city of the major Neo-Hittite kingdom in northwestern Syria. Trade between east and west passed through it, and because of this its system of weights and measures became a standard that was later adopted by the Assyrians and referred to as the Karchemish standard. This standard in trade with Syria continued into Neo-Babylonian and Persian times, as illustrated by a letter from year 9 of Cyrus, where this standard was then known as the measure of Tapsuhu. The continued importance of the city is the reason Eratosthenes chose Thapsacus as one of the reference points for his system of latitude and longitude. Thapsacus' identification with Euphrates finds some support from a corrupt passage in Plinius's Naturalis Historia. In his description of places along the Euphrates, from source to mouth, he gives the following account of the right bank of the Euphrates between Zergma and Sura, and in Syria towns: Euphrates, formerly Thapsacus, now Amphipolis, the tent-dwelling Arabs. Thus it continues to the place called Sura. The passage reads as if there should be a list of towns, and we know from classical references that there were other towns along this strip. In addition, it is known that Amphipolis was different from Euphrates, as Stephanos of Byzantine says it was called Tuamada by the locals. One solution is to read the town list as Euphrates, formerly Thapsacus, now Amphipolis. Gavlikov C. supports the identification of Thapsacus with Seleucia at the Zergma, which is further upstream on the Euphrates. The town has also been linked with Dibzi-Faraj. Further, it has been linked with the town of Bailis in Halab district in Syria.